demanding their rights.
Right.
You cannot use such weapons against for internal repression. This is according to international conventions and regulations. However, they are being used
I'm afraid we're going to have to leave it there. We're running out of time in this program. This certainly has been a very interesting discussion. I'd like to thank my guests in London, Saeed Al-Shihabi from Dubai, Ibrahim Khayat, and in Manama, Nabil Rajab. And thank you so much for joining us here on this edition of Inside Story. We, of course, welcome your comments and suggestions. Please email them to us at insidestory@aljazeera.net. Goodbye for now.
Decoding the stories that shape our views.
Those images catapulted the story back into the headlines.
Everything that I thought would be easy was hard, and everything that I thought would be hard was easy.
From mainstream media to consumer-led advertising.
There are other options.
What's at the front line of global media?
This has been reported worldwide.
With a major media angle to it.
Comparing news and challenging views. The Listening Post, at this time on Al Jazeera.
Afghanistan is faced with a huge challenge.
Relations have gone really sour between us and our allies.
We have inflicted considerable damage on the enemy.
The people who make international headlines.
Ultimately, the truth will out.
They want to stop this publication of information that embarrasses them.
Make time for Sir David Frost. Frost over the world. On Al Jazeera.
On counting the cost, food. Why does it cost so much, and how many more millions are being priced out of the basics? We'll hear directly from the World Bank for its take on an ongoing crisis. Plus big business, as Nokia and Microsoft join forces, we assess the tech market. Counting the cost at this time on Al Jazeera.
See the world from every angle and every side. Al Jazeera.
Libya's deadly unrest. Witnesses tell Al Jazeera dozens of people have been killed as anti-Gaddafi protesters battle security forces. It's 1 GMT. You're watching Al Jazeera live from Doha. I'm Darine Abu Gaida. Also coming up on the program, attacked in Bahrain. Anti-government protesters say live rounds were used against them. Hundreds of thousands celebrate their revolution across Egypt, and the military says it will not tolerate further strikes.
Those against.
An Arab-sponsored UN resolution branding Israeli settlements illegal is vetoed by the United States. Well, a doctor in eastern Libya has told Al Jazeera that more than 70 people have now been killed in battles between security forces and people opposing the rule of Muammar Gaddafi. The center of the unrest is the country's east and the region's biggest city, and that's Benghazi. Reports say security forces have fled that city and also left the surrounding centers of Al-Baida, Shahad, Darna and Tobruk. Well, it's a very different picture in the capital, Tripoli, where leader Muammar Gaddafi still retains support. And there, the streets are quiet for the moment. Al Jazeera's broadcast into the country has now been jammed on several frequencies, and our website has also been blocked. Bernard Smith reports.
A series of funerals for protesters killed by security forces in Benghazi. 14 people were shot dead on Thursday, according to a privately owned newspaper. The city is the focal point of demonstrations against Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi. International media access to the country is limited. The outside world is heavily reliant on what Libyans manage to upload on the internet. The funerals were a consequence of these protests in Benghazi 24 hours earlier. Gunshots can be heard crackling through the air as the authorities try to suppress the crowds. Scenes of dissent on this scale are unprecedented in a country Gaddafi has ruled unchallenged for more than 40 years.
What's happening in Benghazi is a big massacre. People are being killed on the streets. People are demonstrating peacefully. They are asking for a decent life, not more than a decent life. There is in front of me, in front of the main court in Benghazi, more than 50,000 people.
While Libya is oil-rich, its eastern parts are more impoverished. WikiLeaks cables from US diplomats suggest that Gaddafi deliberately allows poverty and unemployment to rise here, weakening opponents. By contrast, in the capital Tripoli, Gaddafi appeared at a rally held by supporters. If you hold a country in an iron grip, adoring crowds can be quickly arranged. But analysts say the colonel does enjoy genuine respect in parts of Libya away from the east. And unlike Egypt, Gaddafi has petrodollars to pour over social problems. Bernard Smith, Al Jazeera.
Earlier, I spoke to Mohammed al-Barqawi. He's an engineer in the city of Benghazi, and he said that there were at least 30 people killed in protests on Friday.
As a start, it was peaceful demonstrations. When people start being killed and bloodshed has been more than around now 30 people. People burned down all these buildings out of rage. They were marching peacefully to the graveyard, imagine, to the graveyard to bury their people, and they were shooting at them, live ammunition.
Has the security lost control of Benghazi at this point?
They have lost control of the streets and the center of Benghazi. Now they are in their camps.
And what about the surrounding cities of Benghazi? We're also hearing reports that the city of Al-Baida, which is northeast of Benghazi, is no longer under government control. Can you confirm that or deny that?
Yes. Al-Baida, Al-Marj, Darna, Tobruk. Even you can check yourself through the Egyptian border, even the border city of Saad. The bordering city of Saad has been taken by its people. Now the eastern region has almost fallen in the hands of its people because of the stupidity of the Libyan government. The demonstrations started peaceful demonstrations. I heard them myself asking for a decent life, no more than a decent life. After the killings, they are not looking for a decent life anymore. They are looking for revenge from Gaddafi and his government.
This is what I want to ask you, Mohammed. Are demonstrators calling for more freedoms at this point in the country, or are they now calling for the fall of Gaddafi's regime?
They are calling for the fall of Gaddafi's regime, him and his family. This is the slogan now in the streets by elderly, young people, doctors, lawyers, judges. Here next to the court, there are thousands now sleeping in the streets.
That's the situation in Libya, but in Bahrain, security forces there opened fire on anti-government protesters gathered in the capital Manama on Friday. Hundreds of mourners were marching towards a Pearl roundabout.